What's happening, brass champions? Trumpeter Bobby Spellman here. And one of the subjects that my students ask me about the most is how to build endurance on the trumpet. As a professional trumpet player, I rely heavily on my endurance, as gigs may entail, for example, playing an hour jazz cocktail hour, followed by a 3-hour ceremony reception party. It may involve playing a long jazz gig with many sets of improvisation, or a set of free improvisation in which there's constant playing, or perhaps the worst of them all, playing in brass bands where you're trying to play creative solos over a bunch of trombones and trumpets and tubas and drums of all kinds playing at the same time. In all of these circumstances, you want to make sure that you're able to make it to the end of a gig and still feel strong. So today I wanted to give some practical advice on how to build endurance on this exciting episode of Trumpet with Bob. At some point in the not too distant past, I released a video on how to build endurance as a trumpet player. In that video, I discussed the importance of playing fairly strenuous trumpet exercises followed by periods of rest in order to work out your muscles and then allow your muscles the opportunity to rebuild, thus building up the muscles in your face and increasing endurance. Now, while I talked about that particular approach to practicing these kinds of exercises, I wasn't particularly specific about the kinds of exercises you could do that would really work out the muscles in your face. Since making that video, I have been working on a series of exercises that really work to build those muscles in your face to improve endurance as well as things like range and accuracy on the trumpet. That series of exercises has recently come out as a book entitled Progressive Flexercises for Trumpet. Now, you may have seen this book in my last couple of videos, but in the process of writing this book and practicing these exercises, the part of my trumpet playing that has most improved is my endurance. I think this book works for a number of different things, but in particular, I think this is a great series of exercises for endurance. So today I wanted to just talk a little bit about some of the exercises in this book, as well as the ways that you can practice them in order to get the most out of it for your endurance. So, as a little background, I've been practicing flexibility exercises for a long time, and what I found is that some kinds of flexibility exercises, or lip slurs, are best for just teaching your body how to comfortably navigate the various registers of the instrument. Other kinds of flexibility exercises were really great at working out the muscles in my face. So what I started doing is writing a series of exercises that would focus in on the challenges involved in building the muscles in your face so as to be able to really improve endurance as well as range and accuracy and the like. So the resulting book is my Progressive Flexercises book, which starts off with some fairly simple flexibility exercises and moves on to some fairly difficult and very strenuous kinds of flexibilities. So I wanted to take a little time to go through one of these exercises and show you how I can practice endurance so that I'm able to make it through a fairly long gig and still feel comfortable on the trumpet. So I'm going to start off with exercise number 17. The way that these work is that you start off on 1, 2, and 3 on the lowest, fingering on the trumpet, the longest that the trumpet tubing gets, and then you're going to move up chromatically all the way up through the 7 fingerings on the trumpet to open. So as you go, it's going to get increasingly difficult as you move up the range of the instrument. Now, I'm not going to go through all 7 fingerings because I want to keep this video a reasonable length, but I'll go through a couple of them so you can hear what that sounds like. It goes like this. So from there, I'll move up a half step and do the same exercise on 1 and 3 in G major. Now from here, I'll move up to the remaining fingerings on the trumpet, but But in the interest of time, I'll go all the way up to open just so you can hear what it sounds like in C major. All right, having gone through all 7 fingerings on the trumpet, I may start to feel some fatigue in my face, in the muscles of my face, the corners of my lips in particular, and in the rest of my face. It's almost like I just did a bunch of push-ups with my face. Now, the way I've designed these exercises is such that if you go up 3 fingerings and you get up to A flat, for example, and you start to get tired, that's the time to stop. Once you can feel that in your face, you can feel the burn in the corners of your lips, that's the time to stop and take a rest. If you've been playing for 5 minutes at a time, up to that point, if it's taking you 5 minutes to get there, take 5 minutes off. Do something else. Either write music or listen to music or answer emails or do whatever you want. In fact, there are certain very easy trumpet exercises that you can do as well. For example, if you're working on the Clarke second study, especially in the low register, etc., those might be all right exercises to do because they don't require so much of the muscles in your face, but it may be wise just to completely take that 5 minutes off. If it takes you 10 minutes to get tired, take 10 minutes off. If it takes 15 minutes for you to get tired, take 15 minutes off. The goal here is to not practice when you're really tired, because then you can develop bad habits. Oftentimes, once people start to get tired, that's when you start jamming the horn into your face. That's when you start moving around more than you have to. Any number of other bad habits can develop if you're practicing when really tired. But these kinds of exercises are very good for quickly tiring out your face because they are fairly strenuous exercises. So once again, if you start on 1, 2, and 3, you start in on the lowest fingering on the trumpet, go through it, move up to 1 and 3, move up to 2 and 3, 1 and 2, 1. If you get tired there, take a break. If you make it all the way up to C, if you go all the way up to open and you're still trucking, then you can turn to the next page, which is just one slightly more difficult exercise. So what I try to do is make them not necessarily incrementally more difficult, but every chapter is more difficult than the one previous, and usually the exercises get increasingly difficult through the chapters. So if you're starting to get tired, you can also go back a page and do an exercise earlier in the book. The point is only just to put yourself in a position where you're finding that place where your muscles are starting to get tired. The reason I wrote these exercises is that I wanted to try to be as efficient as possible. So while many flexibility exercises are good at teaching you how to navigate the range of the instrument easily, I found that these certain kinds of exercises were best at really working my muscles out. So doing these exercises for a couple of minutes, really, I can always really feel it in my face, and then I know that my muscles are working. It's the same thing if you are working out, for example. Like you could lift a 2-pound weight, but you might have to do that for a long time before you start to feel the strain in your muscles. Whereas if you're lifting a 25-pound weight, it may not take you as long to get there. Now, everybody's in a different place, so it may be that the 2-pound weight is what you need for what you're doing, and that's totally fine. One is not better than the other. It's just that you want to push yourself. You want to push your muscles to be able to really work, and then take a rest. Because again, if you're just pushing your muscles to the brink at all times, it's easy to develop bad habits. So the point of these exercises and these kinds of flexibility exercises is just to really make your muscles work up to the point where you are really feeling that burn, and then you take the time off as described in my previous video. There are a number of other flexibility books and different kinds of trumpet techniques that would also work for this purpose, but if I knew one specifically that I could recommend, I probably wouldn't have written the book. I would have just practiced out of that. But my goal here was to really create these exercises that would be particularly strenuous so as to build that muscle. The other thing that's important about these kinds of exercises is that you have to use your air efficiently. Before practicing these kinds of exercises, you always want to take as big a breath as you can and really focus on air first and foremost, because if you're not using your air, you're going to tire out way faster than you want to. This is also true on gigs. If I'm using my air effectively, oftentimes if I'm playing a fairly long, strenuous gig, I'll feel the pressure in my stomach muscles, my abdominal muscles, before I'll feel it in my face. because I'm trying to use my air efficiently. So you always want to use your air efficiently so as to be able to ride that airstream and make it easier to play these kinds of exercises. And that in and of itself will help a lot in terms of endurance. If you're moving your face more than you have to in order to navigate these kinds of exercises, you're going to burn out sooner. So another element to these kinds of flexibility exercises is to teach your body how to do this stuff efficiently so as to not burn more energy than you have to in an actual performance setting. If you would like to pick up a copy of my book of your own, I have digital copies and physical copies at the link right here, at the website here, and you can also find a link in the description below. A big thanks to everybody who's already picked up a copy of the book. I hope you're enjoying it very much. All right, gang, if you like this video, give us a like and subscribe to the channel. And we will be back next week with some more videos on trumpet, jazz, things of that nature. If you are looking for lessons in trumpet, improvisation, or various other musical instruments, you can find us on our website at www.ridgewoodschoolofmusic.com, and you can also find us, send us an email at ridgewoodschoolofmusic@gmail.com. We do lessons online as well as in person in the New York City area. All right, gang, I hope you have a wonderful time practicing, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya. Trumpet with Bob.